Hello and welcome to Grognard Solo Gaming. I am the Grognard and today we are participating in the Solo RPG Challenge for the month of May. And as always, the challenge was created by Caverna Lekkis and his channel is going to be linked below. This month, the challenge is to get started using a single word, and I got a word by asking Lekkis for it, and he gave me the word advice. And based on that, I figured I would probably play something as an advisor at court or something like that. But in the end, I ended up with a kind of a mini game that I have called The Last Oracle. And I am going to explain the rules. They're very short and very easy, but they are also very much tied to the setting. So I'm going to start by explaining the setting, and then I'm going to explain the rules. All right. So I am going to be playing a character called Agranon the Oracle, and the only other named character is going to be High Priest Benevolo Deterio III. And they are both located in the Bargensola Cathedral in a city called Lutz, that is the capital of a country called Agremini. And how much these names are going to matter, we'll just see, but these are just names that I came up with. So in Agremini, they worship Sathramelin, the one god. So it is a monotheistic religion, and the country is a theocracy, meaning that, I guess, sort of the church is the state. However, they have been having some quite large problems as of late, because it seems that Sathramelin has turned his face away from the land of Agremini and even the whole world, because the clerics have all lost their spells and the whole world has taken a turn for the darker. So there is a great fear that they have reached the end of days, that the apocalypse is near. And in the past, the oracle Agranon has been able to speak to Sathramelin, but he is no longer able to do so. And the problem, well, it's a small problem in this situation, but for Agranon personally, it's a problem because he doesn't dare tell the high priest that he has completely lost his communication with Sathramelin, because he's worried that that might get him punished, thrown in the dungeons or something like that. So he has told this Benevolo Deterio III that he is still somewhat able to communicate with Sathramelin, but that the connection is greatly weakened. And I think that is as much background as is needed in order to get started on the rules. So the way you play The Last Oracle is that you first of all need a tarot deck, and preferably 7d6, and also preferably a copy of Mörkborg, because I am going to be borrowing some things from that game. And then I have taken out, well, I am using the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot deck, and I have taken out the trump cards, and those are 22 in number. And then each card is going to represent one day and one question that the high priest poses to the oracle. And that is going to be sort of like a skill challenge type of situation. And then Agranon is gonna have to come up with an answer. And then I'm going to roll to begin with 76. And if he rolls one or more sixes, then that is a success. However, if he fails, then he loses 1 die permanently. And also, if I draw the devil card, the death card, or the tower card, then those cards also result in the loss of 1 die. And as if that was not enough, that is also where Mörkboy comes into the picture, because then the world suffers from one of the miseries, from what I suppose would be Necubel's countdown. I don't know if the pages are the same, but in the Swedish edition of Mörkboy, it is page 16 and 17. So I'm going to roll a d66 and I'm going to find a misery to add to the world in case Agranon is not successful. Yes, so, and also that means, of course, that by the time he loses the 7th, the final die, the world actually comes to an end. So no pressure, Agranon. So is there any way for him to succeed? Yes, there is. He wins by finding the sun card, indicating a new dawn, and to some extent the return of Sathramelin to the world. And also, if he is successful on his roll, then for the next day, I draw 2 cards and I can pick the better card. So the sort of the point of that is, because you're digging through the deck in order to find the sun card, by succeeding, that goes twice as fast. But also, because there are 3 really bad cards, if you draw one of those and one other card, then you can choose not to suffer the ill effect of the tower death or the devil. So that would be the last oracle in a nutshell. Well, it's not even in a nutshell. That's all you need to know to play. So now I am going to get started, and we'll see how things go for Agranon. All right, day 1, card 1. Let's see, adjustment. So the scales, gonna say this has something to do with justice. So, well, let's say that the justice system has sort of over time somewhat moved away from the more religious interpretations of law, and now the clergy via High Priest Benevolo want to know if they should move back to a more religious interpretation of the law. And it seems kind of obvious to Agranon that they should probably be doing that. And now I am choosing to give an answer before I roll. I could do it the other way around. I could roll and then give the answer. But doing it this way makes Sathramelin more chaotic and unpredictable. And I think that's more interesting. And I sort of think that I want to end up with a deity that is, fickle and capricious and not super nice. So let's see, how does Agranon do? 1 or more 6s and he succeeds. Off to a great start. So this means that he loses 1 die permanently, and we are rolling a d66 to find a misery from Mörkboy. And the first misery is number 15. So I'm going to see what that is. And now, unfortunately, my Mörkboy is in Swedish, so I can't just read it as it is. So I'm going to have to read it and then translate.
This is the editing Grognard from the future, editing out some annoying noise, but everything will be back to normal now.
1-5. All right. So essentially faithful guards are going to doubt and turn their swords against those who have given them silver, meaning that the well, guards and probably soldiers and things of that nature, they turn against the people who have hired them. All right, so I'm going to write that down. All right, so poor Agranon is off to a not so great a start. Starting with a failure and losing one die. So day number 2, the oh no, the tower. All right, so that loses one more die, and we get immediately one more mystery. And the second mystery is number 43, which is from the unknown in the west. I can't think of that word right now. Well, it's like a fiery army comes from the west, and the lands are set aflame. Is essentially what that says. Number 4, 3, invading army and fire. So, all right. Poor Agranon. It is not going well for him, but then there was no challenge for day number 2, or rather no question from the clergy. So then we are moving on to day number 3, the lovers. Then I am going to say that the question is if the church is going to accept any kind of romantic gestures between people who are not yet married. And of course, Agranon, at this point, he's quite scared and desperate, as the soldiers have turned against their masters and armies are invading and fires are spreading. He is going to go with the more strict interpretation, and he's going to say that no, absolutely you cannot. Sathramelin frowns greatly upon any such displays before marriage. Let's see if he is. Nope. For some reason, it kind of seems that maybe Sathramelin isn't such a bad deity. Well, I will have to wait and see. That means the loss of one more die, and oh my, it's been one misery per day so far. So that is not great. Right, we are on day number 3, and the third misery is number 66. All right, so protective membranes that have kept unspeakable beings captive are being torn asunder by Damon, Necrobol's left hand. Right, so the way I would interpret that is that demonic creatures are coming from somewhere, and they are tormenting the people and the land itself. So yeah, it seems that the apocalypse is quite near, and so far Agranon has not done well at all. But let's move on to the 4th day to see what happens then. The universe. What might the question be then? Clergy, they have questions about the nature of the universe. Is the universe itself, is matter evil? Is the material world itself evil? Is Sathramelin a spiritual creature, sort of belonging to another dimension? Do they need to free their souls from their material bodies in order to ascend or connect with their deity? And poor Agranon, does he have any clue about this? No, not really. He I think maybe based on his own wishful thinking, he's as everything in the material world around him is going to hell. The soldiers have turned against their masters. The invading armies are bringing fire and destruction, and grotesque demons are waking up and destroying the land. I think he wishes that Sathramelin is a spiritual being and that indeed this world that is coming to an end, it is evil. So that is going to be his answer. And let's see if he answered correctly. No, he did not. So on day 4, this is not looking good at all. And now you might be thinking like, this game was really, really, really stacked against Agranon, that poor oracle, and you would not be wrong. However, there is a point to all of this, and I'm going to get to it at the end. So hang in there, even though Agranon is not hanging in there. You, the viewer, can try to hang on. So the fourth misery that is brought upon the poor land of Agramini as a consequence of the incompetence, well, actually poor luck of whoever is rolling the dice, but let's fully blame Agranon for this. It's his incompetence that is being reflected here. So 53. Well, now, to be honest, I might have rolled 35. I cannot remember because I started to look into the book and then, yeah. But I'm going to say 53. So let's go with that. And from the skies, okay, dead birds fall from the skies. All right. Well, compared to what has happened so far, that doesn't seem very bad. Dead birds. So 5, 3. All right. So okay, and that was another failure. So he loses one more die, and now things are looking grim. The next one, the Hanged Man. Well, let us say that the question from the clergy presented by the high priest concerns the death penalty. Should they be hanging people, essentially? And, well, I don't. What would Agranon? I think he would probably figure that there is enough death in the world as is. On the one hand, if what is going on, well, no, even though Sathramelin is the one god and omnipotent and all this, what is going on? I'm trying to reason this out the way that Agranon would. What is going on? All the death that he's seeing all around him now is the result of Sathramelin turning away from the people. So he's going to say that no, Sathramelin does not want more death from the clergy. However, he only has 3 dice left, so not looking bad. No. For whatever reason, Sathramelin would have wanted more death from the people. He's now down to only 2 dice, and that would be number 26. And misery number 26 is, oh, all right. Her and him, the basilisks, they are part of the world of Mörkborg. They gain ground, and she is slaying everything in her way. Well, now I don't know if I technically want the basilisks to be part of this world or this game, and therefore I'm gonna say it's not the sort of mythological super basilisks of Mörkborg, but rather just some kind of great beast that comes out of the ocean and starts killing people. And I'm going to make a note of great beast from ocean, even. All right, so poor Agranon with 0 days of success and only 2 dice left. Things are looking very dire. But let's keep on going and see where this ends. I am flipping the card for day number 6, and that would be the Aeon. So let's say that Aeon represents someone interpret. Well, let's say that the people of Agremony have had they have had access to the holy books and scripture for the last couple of decades, maybe, but originally in the religion of Seth Ramelin, that was not the case. You can all draw the real world parallels if you like, but was it really a good idea to allow the common people access to scripture? That is the question. And poor Agranon, he just tried to be sort of compassionate, and it didn't seem to make a difference. Well, I think because of that, because he tried to say that they shouldn't kill more people, and that didn't have a good result, then he's going to say that it was probably the wrong decision to allow the people access to the holy book or books, and so they should be withdrawn. And let's find out how that turns out. And he is actually finally correct about something. So there is no new misery. And for the next day, that is the 7th day, he gets to draw 2 cards and he gets to choose. So let us see day number 7. Oh, the devil, that's not good, but also the chariot. So then naturally he is going to pick the chariot. And well, how to interpret the chariot? Well, all right, like the golden armor and the sort of wheel. The clergy are wondering if they should dig out the bones of a saint from the catacombs in the cellars under the Bargansola Cathedral, and perhaps if they parade the saints' bones around the city, then maybe they can help keep Lutz safe from the invading armies and the demons and the great beast from the ocean, also, of course. And well, I think Agranon, he's just desperate, so he's gonna say yes, because it's probably fairly well established that that's a thing that you can do. You can ward off evil using the bones of saints and other types of artifacts. So, well, can't be certain, but that is going to be his answer. He's going to say yes, dig out the bones and parade them around the city. And he was correct again, actually. Wow. It feels like the fewer dice Agranon has, the better he does. So that means he makes it through one more day. So he has now lasted a week. And that also means that he gets to draw 2 cards for the 8th day. And the hermit and death. Oh, well, that was quite lucky, because that means he can get away from losing a die due to the death card as well. So the hermit, well, the clergy want to know if they should send priests into the mountains in order to become ascetics and to hide away, and what is it called? If they should practice self-flagellation and attempt to regain their connection to Sathramelin that way. And Agranon is a little bit worried by this, I think, because if it works and one of the sort of regular clerics manages to get a connection back to Sathramelin, then it might become obvious that he is lying, and it would also mean that he is out of his job and he's going to be replaced. So he's going to say no, no, they should not. They should not be doing this. And let's see how that turns out. That does not turn out well. They should indeed have gone to the mountains to practice self-flagellation. And that means that we are going to have another misery, number 55. Did we have 55? No, we didn't have 55. What would that be? 55. A great rock of fire and soot crashes from the crying heavens. Death and madness follow in its wake. All right. So a meteor crashes into the land. I sort of wanted that to have been the final thing, because then clearly it would have crashed into Lutz, and it would have killed both Agranon and the high priest there and destroyed the cathedral. And but we are not quite there just yet. So somewhere in the land of Agremini, a great rock covered in fire and smoke and soot and things crashes down and utterly destroys whatever was in that place. And now, of course, things are looking very, very, very grim for poor Agranon. And we are going to go into the next day. Empress. So the question then is that once upon a time in Agremini, there was a family of rulers that existed alongside the church, but the church took over and essentially got rid of that family, and now the clergy are wondering if that was a mistake, and if perhaps Sathramelin was upset by that. So should the clergy be looking for heirs to that family to restore the old ways of the state, right? And what would Agranon say to this? He would probably, I mean, the world is literally going to hell, and he just probably figures that whatever the clergy is doing that makes them leave him alone, perhaps if they find some sort of heir to this empress from long, long ago, then perhaps that person could become a scapegoat instead of Agranon himself. So he is going to say, yes, go, it's very important, go find an heir to this long dead empress and see how that turns out. And so now there is only a 1 in 6 chance for this to continue. Otherwise, the world ends. And that was the actual end of the world. Poor Agranon and poor people of Agremini, and also, of course, the high priest Benevolo Beterio III. They all die, and let's find out how. 14 from underground, from dark holes underground, beasts and ghosts, perhaps, are going to crawl out and wherever they go, the vultures grow fat. All right. So beasts and undead come out of the underground, and they leave death in their wake. So the Lutz is overrun by these foul beasts and the undead, and then the all right, yeah, according to how this one is used, the last one is always 77, which means the black disc Yetzabunech is the worst nightmare of the underground. It stands in front of the sun, all is darkness, the things burn, and Verhu beams with joy because everything is correct, and the darkness devours the darkness itself. Well, that's more sort of boy lore, so I am going to stick with the beasts and the undead, and then all life in Agramini comes to an end. And that was the horrible, horrible fate of Agranon the Oracle. Okay, so what was the point of the last Oracle? Well, it was actually to show how a minigame or a game can be used instead of an Oracle when you are solo gaming. Because what I could do next is to make a character in whatever system I feel like playing, and then I could get a game started that is much more RP like. And then the fall of Agramini could be the setting and the backdrop for that game. And then the adventure would probably center around escaping somehow, probably through some kind of a magical portal if indeed the entire world was coming to an end. The events from the minigame could be used to populate random encounter tables and to come up with quests, like the fire themed invaders from the west. Starting on the second day, they could be encountered if the character travels outside of Lutz, as an example. And the cathedral could perhaps be turned into a quest hub. Then you would know what the high priest and the oracle were discussing inside of the cathedral each day. And also, to some extent, you would know what the clergy were up to. And perhaps the character would join in the expedition into the catacombs, but perhaps not to find the bones of the saint or a saint, but something else. Maybe the high priest or the oracle would be the character's secret patron and the one to be coming up with the quests. I am, of course, not saying that anyone else should play The Last Oracle specifically, but anyone who feels like it can come up with a minigame this way and use it to create a setting or to simulate trade or simulate the whims of the gods or whatever else is appropriate for the game that you have in mind. Or you could use something else like a board game, war game, skirmish game, or I don't know, card game, something like that to resolve events in the RPG setting. And also, if this style of doing it seems like front loading too much information, then you could simply alternate play between the RPG and the minigame and do one day at a time. That way, you wouldn't know ahead of time what was going to happen. And this is, of course, also why the death spiral mechanism was intentional, because this was a minigame and I didn't want it to drag on. And it was actually fully winnable because even if you don't succeed at a single roll, you get to flip 7 cards out of 22, meaning that you have approximately a 1 in 3 chance of winning because well, a little better even, because the chance of drawing the sun card goes up as the draw pile shrinks. But that was probably everything this time. I want to thank Lekkis for the challenge. It's always fun to participate. And I want to thank you for watching. And hopefully, I will see you in the next video.